Welcome back to Lyle's Garage. I thought we would do something different for this episode. Instead of doing a repair video or a restoration, I thought I'd bring you on an adventure. An adventure to a motorcycle hoarder's place. When I was a kid, there was a motorcycle shop in the town nearby. And it would have been back in the 90s. And that's where you'd go to get maybe a piston ring or something before the internet days. And around 2000, this shop closed up and the owner died shortly thereafter, leaving behind this wonderful collection we see here. When I first got here, I saw this CB 550, maybe 500. Everything else is basically, I think, Yamaha stuff. You can see a CT1, maybe AT1 peeking through the gas tank right there with the green stripe, the Yamaha white letters. Whole bunch of wonderful bikes out here just piled up. I previously came by to try to get parts around 2000, maybe 8, and the backyard of this motorcycle shop, it was just insane. It was just mountains, and it's been reduced, but I guess the current owner is the daughter of the previous owner, and the city's harassing her to get rid of all this treasure. So she's opened it up for people to come by. There's just stuff laying around everywhere. Excuse me. This is inside the shop. The shop was kind of like a little house where the guy, I think he probably lived and operated the shop out of. And when I was a kid, we'd come here to have to get something like a clutch lever or motorcycle tube or whatnot. And it's just it's kind of sad to see it in disarray. Everything stunk really bad. This whole place is falling apart, and nobody's really been in here for the last 20 years. And the roof was the asbestos type roof, is falling down and letting water in. As we go around, though, we can see a bunch of cool stuff. Some levers on the wall. I see some riding gear. A whole bunch of cool parts that I'd like to have hanging on my wall in my garage. And there's tons of rooms to this building. It's a little tiny building, maybe only about 1,500 square feet. And in each room, he had set up as either part of the shop, part of the restoration, or part of the retail. Over here you can see a bunch of the Harley stuff, all of the chrome stuff. I probably should have bought a lot more stuff while I was there. I brought $700, and that whole wall there I missed out on, and in hindsight I wish I would have bought all that. If you look up here on the top, there's a whole bunch of fenders, NOS fenders. There's a big red one up there for the big red three-wheelers from Honda. There's some random stuff down here, some springs and sprockets. This was one of the biggest cabinet, little plastic drawer cabinets I've ever seen. I'm almost 6 foot tall, and this was almost as tall as me. Came all up to my teeth. Each drawer goes back about 10 inches. They're about 4 by 10 inches, and each drawer had specialty bolts. The long ones, and they were all organized by size, but unfortunately the roof leaked water in, and every single drawer had rusty bolts. Dang it. Yeah, so that's all just going to go trash. There was a bunch of NOS parts there, but I just ended up spending all my money on other stuff. Here's those fenders one more time. Unfortunately, I didn't really think to ask if I could video, so I just kind of snuck around commando style. There's a Ford 390 they were giving away for $100. Here's all the stuff that I got. Yeah, I spent $100 on all those crates full of carburetors, which I'll show you later in the video. $100 for all these tubs full of these taillights. And a lot of it was NOS stuff. Most of it was Yamaha or Moto Asia. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of turn signal lenses, just tons of NOS Honda, and a bunch of these 80s Magna, Sabres or Sabres type turn signal indicators. And they're all dusty, so I took a nice clean towel and some rubbing alcohol and wiped most of this down. I'll show you some of these later. In case you guys don't know, I have an eBay store, and I bought all these real cheap to sell on my eBay store or to use for my projects. basically every part in there was still good except for, a couple here and there. It was that broken tail light lens. All these little stanchion, echelon, whatever. They all have their Yamaha part numbers. And this was a bunch of those clamp turn signal stems for Kawasaki, like the KZs. And a bunch of cool stuff, all from the 70s. There's a tail light lens gasket, a bunch of stems from Yamaha bikes from the 70s and 80s. Some SL125 stems. This box was $100, and I kind of thought I had just blew that money and wasted it when I got home and found all these rusted friction plates. But lo and behold, underneath there was some treasure. That piece there is a brand new little metal thermostat housing or something, and those little C-shaped pieces I'm touching are motor mounts, and there was only one on the interwebs, and it was going for $75. So I put both of mine up for like $50. And on the very bottom was all of these rocker arms and shift levers and all these NOS Yamaha pieces. Half of them I couldn't even identify. I spent $100 on 4 of these boxes. And this one box right here, as you can see, has a bunch of piston rings and pistons. And somebody had already tried to do some eBay stuff that seemed like a while back, but everything was so filthy that it had been sitting for a while. And $100 got me all the tubs of carburetors and all the pieces. Just a bunch of random stuff in this bucket. There's a bunch of those turn necks for the ATVs, or ATCs, I mean. Maybe ATVs too, and carb stuff. And then there's a milk crate with a whole bunch of carburetors. And I'll show those a little bit more later on. But $100 for all of that. Just awesome. Such a blessing. Another $100 got me these 3 big boxes full of these drawers, and they're about 4 inches, but they go back about 10 inches. And every drawer in this one has fork dust seals or fork seals. Sorry, dust boots or fork seals. So I figured I'd probably end up keeping all those and use all those. So that one cabinet there that I'm pushing around, $33, that was worth it. This one was all oil seals. And just a bunch of different sizes and flavors. A bunch of the drawers actually were packed. I'm just not grabbing the drawers that are packed, but there's one. And this last one right here was the Piece de la Resistance, or however you say that. Just crank seals for 2 strokes. And behind that one was a brand new stack, and behind that brand new stack was another brand new stack. And just each drawer just got just tons and tons of crank seals, so many that I just can't even pull them out. They're just jam-packed in there. So I feel like that was a really good find right there. Obviously the drawers that they're in are just crap. They're just so nasty and filthy. But all the parts inside were beautiful. So this is getting back to my garage where I got a bunch of the stuff. There's another box with the pistons and piston rings. You can just see there's a bunch of NOS stuff. One of the boxes had all these clutch plates and clutch fibers for, I think, a 1985 Honda CR 125. And tons of piston rings. Just tons of them. That one big box was for GT 750s or 550s. And I sold 2 of those and pretty much made my $100 back already. This one's pretty cool. It was a brand new Yamaha piece. I don't even know what bike it goes to, but it's like a thermostat housing. And when I turn it upside down, you can see it's like shaped like United States of America. And just a beautiful piece. So new. It was from like an 86, I don't know, Varga, I can't remember. Those Yamaha 80s bikes, they just weren't something I paid attention to so far. This one's pretty cool. This was for a little 2-stroke Honda. I think it was 100 cc 2-stroke. So 2 little tiny 50 cc pistons. And everything's basically Wiseco or Hap Jones or Rocky, Yamaha, Suzuki. Just good stuff. There was some, there's this whole bag of NOS. I think they were main jets for Amal carburetors. They could have been for the Del Ordo or IRZ, one of those European flavors. This was all CB 500 carb set right there and ring set. I bought another for another $100. I got this. It was a filing cabinet drawer, and it was just packed full of gaskets and oil seals. And this is more of the carburetor stuff, a whole bunch of different those. But back to the gaskets. These were all just the loose ones. And this box was in the bottom of the filing cabinet. And then there was like 50 complete gasket sets that each had 1 to 2 gaskets taken out of. And then there's all these, which are just packs of like side cover gaskets for random bikes that I've never even heard of, to tell you the truth. And some head gaskets for some vertical twins. These were pretty cool. There's a box full of CB 750 and the bigger CB valve cover gaskets. I actually sold one of these already. So this is what I'm currently working on right now, is one of those tubs of tail lights that I previously showed you. I had 2 tubs. And on this tub I got a good amount of just crap. I don't know. There are probably a bunch of good used parts in there. Maybe they're new and just dirty. And then I got a bunch of really cool NOS parts. Here's some weird 80s turn signals. And then, I don't know, these might be universal parts. Kind of like a 80s universal thing. Some cool stuff. Got some cool turn signals. I think this is for a Sabre. And then we got some turn signals for something fancy. I'll have to look it up. This is the part, or the company that most of this is made by. It's called Moto Asia. So, off-road use only. Whole bunch of this kind of stuff. Luckily, a lot of them have their labels. So, anyways, I'm just getting them ready to start doing the eBay stuff by cleaning them and gathering them all with their friends that are similar. That didn't sound right, but whatever. One of the cool things I found, the coolest so far, was I had 3 of these NOS taillight lenses that are in just immaculate condition. And these are going to be they fit the Honda CB550, the 1974 that I have. And so all the flavors of CBs from that era. And one of the cooler things, though, was actually these tons and tons of screws. The best ones are all these that are in their little bags, you know, with the part numbers, so I can identify them. I did a quick search just on this one bag here that has all of these screws, and they're all for the tail light lenses, brake lenses and such. And this, under this part number, they were selling for $10 to $18 each. Anyway, so just in that one bag right there, I got double or triple my money for what I invested on all the lenses. And now that I've said that again, that sounds kind of like bragging. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just really excited, and I want to share all this with you guys. I'm going to go over to my storage. I got to pack up a package today. And while I'm over there, I'm going to show you guys some of the carburetors. And as promised, here's all of the carburetors. Well, just the smaller ones. I took the smaller ones out of the tubs or the milk crates and put them in this tub. There's a couple that have their float bowls still attached, but as you can see, most are separated. If anybody knows what carburetor this is, or this brand, that weird emblem, let me know in the comments. And yeah, there's a bunch of really cool little carburetors in here. They mainly seem like the ones for the smaller ATVs, ATCs, under 100 cc's. This one shouldn't be in here, but this is a CB450 twin carburetor, I believe. And there's a lot of really cool ones, kind of like this one right here. It was Kaihen, I believe. Yeah, just straight up and down. Nothing else to it, so hopefully I find the missing pieces of that one. This one's got the little altimeter knob that you pull out when you're up to 1,000 feet higher, I believe. Pretty cool little carburetor, and not too dirty. Most of the stuff will just need to be put through the ultrasonic. I think these are probably KZ750 or some other 750 twin carburetors. And all in all, definitely got my money's worth. And just wish I would have probably maybe videotaped a little bit better in hindsight. I didn't really realize it until I got home and I saw the footage and realized how awesome it was to see all that old stuff. So now I know, live and learn. Next time I see a hoarder's place, I'm going to have to videotape it a little better. So if you guys know what any of these carburetors are, put them in the comments for me. Some 4-cylinder action there. Anyways, when I get everything all cleaned up, this is what it ends up like up on the eBay. If you guys need some parts, go to my eBay store. It's Lyle's Garage, all one word. Search user. There's a little search bar. You can put in whatever motorcycle you're working on, and if I have any parts for that bike, it'll show up. And guaranteed I'm selling them cheaper than somebody else. And if you send me a message, I'll even give you a discount. So thanks again, guys, for sticking around. Hope your guys' projects are doing well. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.